Hey guys, so this is the planted tank. Joey had to borrow my CO2 that I had on it for a little while, for a bit, until we get more. Took the Anubias off, well most of it, I left those two lighter ones on. But it all had hair algae on it. I just took it out and added it to my little Anubias farm here in the snowball shrimp tank. You can see there's still hair algae on some of it. But I'm just gonna leave it in here for now with all my snowballs, and like they just keep breeding like crazy, and they're all different colors in here. See, that one's buried. They're just like, they're almost all buried in here, and they're all just different colors. Some of them are like wild type. I still have my original white snowballs, and then there's like this guy, and these like red stripy ones and all that. So good amount of shrimp in here and a good amount of Anubias in here. It doesn't look the best because I just kind of stuck it all in the back and then randomly in the middle wherever it would kind of fit in and stay put. But these guys keep pretty busy, and like I said, they breed like crazy, so I'm sure they'll enjoy having the Anubias there to swim around on. I started up a 3-tree tank. I want to do, I think, 3 trees like the original. The moss on this one's actually kind of died off a bit. Hoping it will bounce back here shortly. But I do want to do a 3-tree version of the original, but I'm also thinking of putting a planted substrate on the bottom and dwarf sad like a little lawn around them. But anyways, I was taking that Anubias off and I was like, oh, I should probably film this. And I'm thinking I'll put more moss down on the wood and maybe like around these 2 lighter pieces of Anubias because I kind of want to keep them. Hey guys, and welcome back to another day with tea. Long time no see, I know. Also, excuse my hair. I am oiling it right now with a scalp rosemary and mint or something scalp oil before I wash my hair. I'm peeling potatoes and carrots for Easter dinner. I have the stuffing here. It's just the stovetop one. It's ready, and then I'll be making this St. Hubert brown gravy to go with everything. I'm soon going to be putting a ham in the oven to go with the turkey. The turkey I use every time is always just this boxed Butterball boneless turkey roast turkey. I know it's not the most fancy way to do a dinner, but it is the easiest and it always turns out really good, so I just like to keep it simple. And yeah, so that's what I'm up to for now. I think I'm gonna go downstairs in a little bit as well and try to clean some hair algae out of my 180 planted tank, so then I can give you a look at that. And obviously this will be going up after Easter, but I hope you all had a very happy Easter. This is Luke's new mallard. It's his giant stuffy. It was kind of his Easter present, but he got it a few days ago. I've already had to perform a couple of surgeries on it. He gets a little overexcited sometimes and ripped off one of its legs. He ripped its butt open, and last night he was trying to rip one of its wings off, but I sewed them all back together for him, and then he likes to have a good little sooky time. Sooky time for Luke and his big duck. He loves it though. My apologies, by the way, for slacking with the vlogs and content lately. I have just been in a bit of a low energy rut. Usually it happens in the winter where I just kind of don't feel like doing too much, and there's also not as much to do in the winter time when the days are dark and stuff and it's cold. But finally we're starting to get our nicer spring weather, and we had a few warmer sunny days the last few days. It's a little bit cloudy and overcast and rainy today, but not too bad. But the sunny weather definitely helps boost my mood. I'm just getting this ham ready. But yeah, I just didn't want to be filming content when I was just feeling not really like picking up the camera, because I didn't want it to feel forced and stuff. But I figured I'd pick up the camera and have a little chat with you guys now while I'm preparing some of this dinner. And ham does not want to come out of the wrapper. Technically it's already cooked, but I like to heat it up. So I just like to do a brown sugar and maple glaze on the ham just to give it a little extra. Everyone in the comments, let me know how you celebrated your Easter weekend, if you celebrate. And if you don't, just let me know what you did for this weekend. I tried to vlog a few times a few weeks ago, or like a month ago now, and I made a chocolate and raspberry cake, and I kind of took some clips of that, and then I was like, well, I don't really have any other footage to put this with, so I might drop that in this video. Just show you what I've been up to. Ta-da! Okay, I took the raspberries off from the middle because they were just making a mess while I was cutting, but I added a raspberry to each piece, and I've cut the cake. And look how good that looks! I made this, and I'm gonna try it. I hope it's good. So for the most part, I've basically just been taking Luke for a lot of WALKs. I've been dragging myself to the gym because I've had barely any energy, but I do make sure that I get there most days. I still do miss the odd day here and there. And I always feel better after. I know I say that all the time. I sound like a broken record at this point, but even if you don't feel like working out, you probably just should go do it, and it'll get those endorphins released or some serotonin going. And now I'm just going to put the gravy into the pot to heat it up once I'm ready to do that, just to have it all ready for myself. I transferred stuffing out of the pot and into a container so that I can make the carrots in that pot that I used for the stuffing. I don't technically need everything to be ready quite at the same time, even though it all will be. But Darius is at work until 8. He was there from 11 to 8, so I took him to work this morning. And me and Luke went through the Tim Hortons drive-thru. I got a vanilla cream cold brew and a couple of Timbits for Luke. He had some honey dip ones. And then, yeah, I've just been kind of hanging out since then. Went back to bed for a little bit, and because we were up really late, and I'm just making this dinner. And I'm looking really forward to eating it because I'm hungry. I'm also just filming this on my phone. So if the quality or the lighting or whatever isn't as good, or the sound, don't mind that. this is what you get. It's better than nothing, isn't it? Still use a cutting board because you guys bullied me back in the beginning of my channel when I didn't use one. So the cutting board use is thanks to you all. Yeah, so I think that I did a bit too much back to back fish content and set everyone up into thinking that was the only content that I was doing, and I was gaining a lot of new subscribers and I was only doing fish stuff for a while there. I was like, no wait, this is supposed to be like a vlog channel for everything, a little bit of everything, just sort of showing my days and stuff. And I just got a bit overwhelmed with people expecting and only wanting fish stuff, and I was like, well, if I don't do fish stuff, nobody's gonna watch. But I am trying to try to get back into just filming a bit of everything, and if you want to be here, I really appreciate you. If you don't, I understand. I'm gonna just do my best to get back into filming everything, making filming fun again, and not... That's why I'm filming with my phone right now. I was like, if I have to like set up the camera and stuff, sometimes it's a little bit harder to set up, and I have to pay attention to more things than I need to pay attention to when I'm just grabbing quick clips on my phone. And then I can easily airdrop my phone clips to my MacBook and then edit them really easily. So I'm gonna give this a go for a little while and see how that goes. But yeah, I'm just the type of person where if something gets overcomplicated or it's just too many extra steps, then I just won't do it. So that's why I'm using my phone instead of my camera. I really love my camera and appreciate my camera, and I'm sure I'll be using my camera again more. But I'm also gonna use my phone just so that I will actually film stuff. Just a very simple kind of gal. And I only just started this hair oiling, so I don't know like what the results are going to be like or if I'll notice any differences, but I just wanted to try to have a healthier scalp. Oh my gosh, I'd also like to show you one more thing before I head downstairs, but I would honestly... I love these Greek yogurt cups by Oikos, and I always get the cherry ones, and I started being like, oh, I'm only gonna get the cherry ones because it's my favorite flavor, and I always regret getting any other kind other than cherry whenever I do, and it's like almost a chore to eat them instead of eating the cherry ones. So I promised myself, I was like, I'm not gonna get any more flavors, but then I was at the grocery store and I saw this flavor as I was walking by, and it was like, I have to try that one. It's caramelized maple pear. If you like maple, let me tell you, I would be doing you a disservice if I did not tell you about these. If you can find them, they're limited edition. They are so delicious. They legitimately taste like a dessert. I thought the cherry ones were like a dessert. These ones might be even more dessert-like. They're so good. They're only 90 calories and they have 8 grams of protein. The cherry ones are 80 calories and 8 grams of protein. They are so delicious. Honestly, if you can get your hands on them, I really do suggest you try them. Now let's head downstairs. So the planted ropefish tank is actually doing amazing. The ropefish are still very much enjoying it. The plants are just growing in. Look, this one sprouted up all the way to the top and started like flowering a little bit. And then that valve in the back is just doing awesome. Sometimes the top gets covered in the floating plants, the duckweed there, but I just scoop it out and then it gives them a chance to have some more light. They're feeling a bit active right now. There's also one little patch of cryptocorin by the rocks there, which was unintentional, but it kind of ended up in a fine place. So that's how they're doing. Then the Tropheus, we ended up getting those Tropheus icola. They're doing well in here with the original Bemba that I got last January. And they're just all getting along really well. And I love having a whole big colony of Tropheus again. We did try having the Frontosa in here with the Tropheus Bemba that I have, but I really missed just having the tank sort of more filled out with the Tropheus. So we did rehome those Frontosa, but I had already rehomed my other half of the Tropheus Bemba, so we got these icola when an opportunity arose to get them, and I'm really glad that we were able to. So that is doing amazing. My shrimp tanks, like, I don't know if you remember or saw me set this one up, but it was a lot less plants than we have now. The whole thing is just coated in plants. This is my yellow shrimp tank, and they continue to breed and populate like crazy. The blue dream shrimp tank, the plants in here have gone pretty wild, and they're just like, the stem plants are growing all around the top, and I've just kind of let it do its own thing. We had some die off on the cherry shrimp moss. I don't really know why. I don't know if it sort of has like a life cycle that it sort of ends, because some of the pieces that were brown were turning green again on the ends of them. We have lots of cherries in here though. So anyways, I had accidentally gotten some of this, see that really lush moss on the tree there now? It was actually in the ropefish tank. There's still a bit in the back there that I can't reach with my arm, so I'll have to get it with a net or something. But that I just took yesterday and popped back on the tree here to kind of let it grow. And then the interesting thing is the moss on these 3 trees, because I set up a new second blue dream colony just because, and the moss on these trees, sorry, my camera's not focusing here. Anyways, the interesting thing is the moss on these 3 trees in this second blue dream tank is I brought it from the ground in here. So it's growing actually nicely. And I find that with these type of moss, lighting, really good lighting is the key. This kind didn't seem to care as much what kind of lights it had, but I did end up just putting these Fluval lights back on, and they seem to do the best. This is the snowball tank, and there's still snowballs in here, but then the coloration has kind of gone to sort of speckled red and wild coloration, and I'm just kind of letting them do their thing. It's gotten a bit cloudy in here a few times since I added these anubias from the planted. Wow, look at those plants. I really need to do some more hair algae cleaning and a trimming of these plants. They're pretty wild looking right now. I also might need to remove some of these ones here that are crowding these swords a bit so that they have a chance to grow. And then the plecos Joey added in this tank are doing great since he moved them from here and set this tank up for me, which is also looking amazing. I love that. He did such a wonderful job. It looks so beautiful, and it's only going to get better with time as these plants all start to grow in. Our electric blue Acara are doing well. The female hides sometimes, and they haven't been breeding lately, which is fine because I don't really have anywhere for their babies right now. The shell dwellers are also still doing great down here. I guess I'm just giving you a little bit of an update on everyone. They haven't started breeding yet that I've noticed, but some of them do look like they're maybe starting to pair up, but I'm not sure. I think they're still a little bit too small, even though I feed them like 2 to 3 times a day. So we'll just keep being patient with them. Our buddy Tyrese is still down here, and with all of his anubias that he has, I did try to give one of the bigger plants of anubias with the giant leaves like that to the Acara for a while, but they just ripped all the leaves up, so I took it out. We still have the black diamond stingray in here. The back of the tank, so you can see the hair algae. I need to get this gone and dealt with, and just kind of, I'm gonna try to plant some of these stem plants in back here, but see, I want these swords to have space to grow, so I'm going to start moving these back and around and on the sides wherever they need to go. But again, I need to get rid of the hair algae first. Oh my goodness, let's borrow this light for a second. Franklin and Brittany are doing great. They still have their babies. As I said, we need to sort of maybe probably move them to, there's a lot of them. We need to move them to this tank here that the cardinal tetras were in. Joey ended up taking the few that survived and putting them in with the piranha, but there weren't only like a handful left, so that sucked. But yeah, these guys, I think we're gonna move them into there because they are biting at Franklin's sort of mouth area a little bit. I keep coming down and seeing them like nipping at them. So we'll probably get them moved out. And then the original ones from January are growing kind of quickly. Some of them are bigger than others. Like that guy on the right here is way bigger than the one on the left there. But they're trying not to let me film them or something. Ooh, pretty boy. Or girl. I don't know what you are. I'm guessing you're a boy since you're a lot bigger. But yeah, they're in here. And they're still growing. So yeah, I guess that's just a little bit of an update on everyone and myself and getting back into the groove of things. And I will probably try to fix up this tank. I'm still cooking upstairs, so I'm probably gonna finish doing that. And then I'll work on this tank a bit. And then maybe I can show you the update on this, how it looks after I fix it up here a little bit more in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and hopefully I will post again relatively soon. And thank you all so much for being here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!